My name is Xiaoli Ji. I'm the lead volunteer coordinator of NAMI Contra Costa, and also I'm managing NAMI AAPI Chinese programs. Today is a Saturday. Why are you here? Because you care, I care, we care. Thank you all for joining us on the weekend. We really appreciate that, everyone. As Gigi mentioned, we do offer NAMI basics class and at NAMI CC for the parents with the school-age children. And also we offer family-to-family class for family members and caregivers. Next year, we plan to offer Chinese peer-to-peer class for all the individuals living with the mental illness. And besides that, we also have 3 programs for the support groups, one for peers, one for transitional age youth, and one for the caregiver and family members. And in the past 6 months, we're so glad to have the opportunities to work with the COCO AAPI to the special AAPI project. Our team spent a lot of time and hours and effort and in this project. Mostly it's on Sundays, Saturdays, and the evenings. Thanks, team. Thank you all. 大家好，今天是周末，为什么你会来这里呢？因为你关注，我关心，我们都非常关注精神心理健康。由衷的感谢每一位来参加我们宣导活动的每一位嘉宾，感谢大家数月来的坚持努力，我们一起热情的做完了这个项目。你们用星期天、星期六和晚上的时间参加了每一次的讲座和培训及问卷调查，非常感恩大家。It's now my great pleasure to introduce our team. First, the NAMI AAPI Outreach Coordinator, Tiffany.
Hello, everyone. So I'm so happy to meet everyone here. So I'm Tiffany Wong. I feel so honorable as one member working on this project. From May to today, we spend time and efforts on developing training curriculum, recruiting trainees, and conducting public survey. In the past several months, we held 3 workshops to the trainees and the public audience, and received the positive feedback and active participation from the trainees and the people of the Chinese community. Today, I'm so glad to say that county officers and the leaders of communities join us to hear our voices and recommendations. Thank you for your coming. We hope this project can help to remove disparities and shortage of language as cultural, responsive services and resources in mental health for Chinese and overall AAPI community. So now, I'd like to pass it to Dr. Philip Low to introduce himself. As the psychology expert, Dr. Low plays a very important role in this project. Please, Dr. Philip, pass to you.
Okay, great. And thank you again. I'm really honored to be here with all of you. And I would just like to start off with a very simple slide. Not a lot of slides, and then just avoid being overloaded with PowerPoint today. But I wanted to share a little bit about myself. And this is my mug shot on the corner here. And some people ask, this is a picture from 20 years ago when I started posting online dating pictures. No, this is only a few years ago. So I was previously at Kaiser Psychiatry in Walnut Creek, and most recently I'm decided to join a residential treatment program for troubled youth, suicidal, at-risk adolescents and young adults. And so I've been involved with the NAMI CC since 2017 as just a volunteer speaker, and later on, as I found the meaning and the purpose behind NAMI CC and the API chapter, I became more involved. So we're all here. We want to ask, what is the problem? What is the problem that we face? Why are we all here, right? So I just want to share with you some, striking numbers. So in the LA, the Departmental Health System, they publish this data as real people data, statistic collected over a decade. What they find out is that in the Asian API community, there has been a great avoidance of the mental health intervention because of stigma that involved. Out of all the population that needed mental health, less than 16% of the API that would acknowledge that their mental health issue and they would seek mental health. And a third of them miss their appointment when they have scheduled. So that's a third of the 16% seeking help. And after that, half of them drop out their first appointment. Now, in terms of individual families and having troubles or whatnot, as immigrant or native-born Asian Americans, right, they underutilize, delay, and avoid mental health accesses. And less than 6% of them actually do seek family therapy. As you know, right, no family is perfect, and a lot of family has problem. And less than 6% of them actually seek help when they needed to. So again, over a quarter of them drop out their treatment. Now, when we look at Asian Americans, we often think about the dominant group, which probably the Chinese American being a larger sector of it. But the reality representing Asian API sectors that there are people who come from over 40 countries and speak 100 different dialects and representing different cultures and whatnot. And the acculturation level really varies. Now, if I show you a little diagram here, you look at this wheel, right? The upper right corner, the orange circle, represent about 22% being Chinese American. But look closely forward, it's Filipino American, which represent nearly 20%. And then the rest of the ethnic group, they represent Vietnamese, Indian, Korean, Japanese, and whatnot. And then we also have a large variety coming from Thai, Laotian, Hmong, Taiwanese, Bangladesh, Burmese, and all that. Now, if you put this landscape together, what do you realize is that this is a very diverse community with different languages and culture and specificity and underutilized services as a whole. They prematurely terminate treatment. They fail to show positive outcome and result, and resulting in a much costly intervention down the road for medical system. So we want to say that NAMI is a great platform. It's a starting point. It's a great system. But however, though, if we rely on the system can fail us because a lot of times systems are not perfect. We're not responding to individual families' help because when you call in just receiving a phone messages and you never reach a live person, eventually you feel like your mental health actually would not go further because it's just stopped by a voicemail. Now, what I'm advocating is that what we've seen is that we have to need CCC people, not CC, Contra Costa. CC meaning that we need compassionate and passionate people who are culturally tuned and they adapt to changes. Now, what we see in the picture that we face in front of us is that we're currently extremely underfunded and understaffed, not just for the Chinese community. So you saw just now, we have Shelley, we have Tiffany, we have Leo, and we have a few volunteers and Yvonne and all that. And not to mention the one that is in front of us, Gigi Croder. She has been kind of the voice and also the champion for the API chapter as well. So I really want to recognize every one of these people because they represent the CCC people. But what we face is that we're severely underfunded and we only have one API chapter primarily based on Mandarin. My goal and vision is that this advocacy and this conference that we have together will allow us to reach out to all these families who have mental health needs. And no one is being left behind per se. And so that the sick, people would not say, I'm not mentally sick, I don't need help. So I just want to give the following time back to our host here. But I do want to just share with all of you that NAMI CC is about people always offer free services and willing to listen. But however, there's a dire need for fundraising, and we love the people that volunteer and serve us. And I am as a volunteer speaking on behalf of the community here. So thank you for giving me this opportunity that I get to speak, and been a pleasure meeting all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Philip. Now I would like to introducing our NAMI CC longtime volunteer, Lydia. Lydia, you want to wave your hand? Lydia, she is the consultant and the interpreter for this special AAPI project. Hi, Lydia. Thank you. Appreciate you. And also we have 4 people, and they will share their story. We have Liu Luo. Can you pin Liu Luo? Thank you. Hi. And also we have Tina. Hi, Tina. Thank you. We have Yiwen.
Hi.
Hi, we also have Edward. Hi, Edward. We have them to share their story later and introduce themselves later. And now we have Leo. Turn to Leo Lee. He is the Transitional Age Youth and Ending the Silence Team Coordinator. Go ahead, Leo. Leo, that's your turn.
Hi everyone, I'm Leo and I'm a TAKE coordinator from NAMI Contra Costa. And today I'll be moving on to our next part, which is the data reporting part. And let me share my screen right now. And
yeah, I also want to say we have 25 trainees from all over the community. Just we couldn't pin you, but we did the screenshot. You're in the picture. Thank you all. Go ahead, Leo.
Shelly, and thanks to all my team. And now I'm going to be transitioning to the next part of our report, the data reporting. And right after our first lecture or our first project meeting, and we design a
Leo, are you there? You're frozen.
I think.
Oh, sorry, I'm back. I think my computer just froze a second, and let me quickly restart my share. Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
We can hear you, but your face is still frozen.
Maybe you should go off screen, Leo, so that your bandwidth is strengthened. So don't use your camera. But
can everyone see me right now? Sorry, apologize for the wrong name and something apparently went wrong, but I'll keep going. So for the sake of time being, and thank you all for patiently waiting for us. And so right after the first lecture, we perform a questionnaire, which we gathered around 59 responses overall. And now I'm going to share a lot about those available data we received. So first of all, I'm going to start with a graph from the Board of Supervisors meeting in Contra Costa County. And this is the overall graph to show the overall population in Contra Costa County in general. And we can see that the AAPI community, we are the second largest minority groups in Contra Costa County. We only have about 70% of people, and that is a big number. But however, when we are tracking the people who receive mental health services, AAPI community only take up 5%, which is a big jump and a big gap from the previous graph we just saw. But our question is like, why is that what happened? Is that AAPI people do not want to seek out for medical care and mental health services? So today, I will try to explain some of that with our own questionnaire. So there we go. Our questionnaire gathered around a total of 95 responses, and here are some demographic information about them. So we can see that we cover a wider range of age group and gender group. We have people from a young age or from adult age or from senior group, and that is all covering in this questionnaire. And they're mostly from Contra Costa County, so they're not living far abroad or like living outside of the country. And then we can see that all of the people we gather the responses they are 100% Asian. And mostly about 97% of people are in Chinese, since that is the main focus of this project. But we will definitely expand this whole thing to the whole API community later, when we have more chance and more funding and more staff members. And then you may ask, hey, if we know that they're all like Asian communities members, and what are their roles at? And definitely, around 80% of them are the first generation immigrants that are coming to the United States for the first time. So that is a lot of things to show their language level, to show their cultural level on this country, to American culture. And that is also one thing we need to pay attention to. And lastly, their role in mental health. As we can see that almost 48% of the respondents are the family members with lived experiences and caregiver, and while the 50% are the patient itself, they're individual living with some mental health conditions. So the wider range of this respondent, they actually have the first-time experiences on mental health and mental health issues. So this is not something irrelevant to this whole questionnaire. So with all that demographic part, now I'm going to move on to our real data. Like, what are some main questions and overall goals we received from this questionnaire. And as you can see that we as a team, we divided to subdivide those questions into 4 categories and 4 areas. And that is, throughout the survey, we have identified 4 areas of changes, which our recommendations are based off education, healthcare, community resources, and public safety. And now I'm going to go over them one by one, just to see what's our overall goal as. And throughout the question, we're trying to quantify the data a little bit. So for each question, we have a score from 0 to 10, where 0 means the worst case overall. There's no help or there's no resources at all regarding on this specific question. And where a score of 10 representing perfect score. Everything's going great. They can receive everything they needed. And here are some average score for those 4 categories. As we can see that they're all below 5, which is the average score. And now we'll be putting our lenses closely on each of the categories. So first will be education. And this category has an overall rating of 4.1 from a scale of 10. So the first question we have, or like the typical question we have on the questionnaire is, what do you think the special mental health attention and counseling children of Asian American immigrants received at school? And we can see that 53% of the respondents received a score with 0 to 3. They're thinking that their children could not receive any special mental health attention or counseling service at school. And that is almost half, more than half of our respondents. And while only 10% of our respondents think they're doing great. They're receiving the service they needed. And with that, we also have more questions about, hey, what are those specific programs might be? So we know that we have IEP program, we have 504 program, but does our respondent know about them? Does our respondent use them? So from those 4 questions, we can see that mostly our respondents do know nothing about those programs, and they have no idea how to use them at all. Almost 84 of the respondents, even though they know about the IEP, the independent education program, and only 15% of them use it. So that is a big gap we're having within our county right now. And how about the transition from school to society or from school to work? So this question is about like, do you know where else children with mental health challenge can get the latest or appropriate mental health resources after they leave school? And 72% of the respondents received a no. They have no idea where else they can receive resources after they graduated or they leave school for this stage. So with all that for me talking the data part, I do want to leave the valuable time for our valuable respondents.